All but 2 teams left to qualify for the quarterfinals now, guys. 6 of 8 are decided, and we had our first match go to extra time at this World Cup. I'm Adrian. I appreciate you coming through to say hello, and hopefully you'll subscribe and come by tomorrow as well for our daily uploads. And on Wednesday morning, my time, that's Eastern time in Canada, I'll post my preview and predictions for the quarterfinals. So watch out for that. Other than that, housekeeping has concluded. On to the football. Croatia took on Japan, or as I refer to them in the preview of this match, the UEFA Killers. Having previously defeated both Spain and Germany, they are now coming for the 2018 World Cup runners-up in Croatia. Croatia, for their part, had a very mixed group stage, I thought. A draw with Morocco, a win where Canada played directly into their hands, but to their credit, their finishing was amazing, and they would have lost to Belgium and been eliminated if not for Romelu Lukaku missing 3 or 4 gilt-edged chances against them, depending on how harshly you rate him. It's either 3 or 4. What we got in that first half, I was actually watching from a government services office as I was getting my driver's license renewed, but what we saw in that first half was great, open, and attacking football from both teams, with Japan looking a little bit more dangerous in the final third, I thought. The movement of the Japanese attackers, especially in wide areas, was a little bit much for Croatia's fullbacks, and at times I actually found that Gvardiol and Lovren looked a little bit shaken out there. The speed in which Japan was able to transition from defense to attack was always going to be tough for them to deal with. While each side had a couple of great chances in the first half, it was Japan who opened the scoring, with Maeda finally getting his first goal of the tournament. A great ball into the box was hit back across for Maeda to smash past Livakovic. Great set piece. And there were a few good ones from Japan, and a deserved lead at that point. And within the first half, they nearly had another, as Daichi Kamada did great to create space for himself on the edge of the 6-yard box, but he completely misfired and his strike went out for a throw-in, a corner. Apologies, my name got called at that point, so I didn't see the outcome. But I missed the last few minutes of the first half. Thankfully, nothing big really happened, though, after looking back on it. In the second half, Croatia were still on the back foot, for the most part at least. The match had devolved into a bit of a battle in the midfield, with Japan and Croatia taking turns roving forward, but I think it's fair to say that Croatia's equalizer kind of came from nothing, really. Solid ball into the box, a dangerous delivery with enough pace to it that it simply requires the man on the end of it to just direct it goalward, and there's a decent chance it will go in. That's exactly what happened for Croatia. A great ball in from Dejan Lovren, and Perisic directed the ball to the corner of the goal past Gonda to bring Croatia level at 1-1, and to bring Perisic level with Davor Suker for the most goals at the World Cup for Croatia now, with 6. From there, the match continued with the theme of each side taking turns to be dangerous, with each side providing massive interventions to keep things level. Ritsu Doan taking the ball off of a Croatian player's boot as they were winding up to smash it, Lovren sliding to block a through ball from Doan. It was a great match, man. Though in the last 15 or 10 minutes, you could tell that both sides were already looking toward extra time, desperate not to make an error that would deny them of a potential 30 minutes to rectify things, rather than, just a few if you were to concede in regulation time. And neither side did, so we went to our first extra time of the tournament, where it was pretty cagey stuff. One of the more interesting happenings being that Croatia elected to take off not just Mateo Kovacic, but Luka Modric as well in extra time. Later, they also removed Perisic. I found that a bit interesting, as for me, Modric and Perisic would have been penalty takers for sure, but what do I know, right? Trust Dalic, the man who got them to the final, not Adrian, the guy who was watching most of the first half while getting his license renewed. My guess would be that he was thinking about tired legs and how Japan could overrun them a bit, which they began to do in that second half of extra time before Croatia came alive right at the death, but nobody was decisive, and so we went to the shootout. For me, a horrible way to have your tournament come to an end for one team. Unfortunately for Japan, Minamino got them started off on the wrong foot with a very poorly taken penalty. Credit to Livakovic for guessing the right way. He had to guess the right way to save it, but beyond that, with the placement of the penalty from Minamino, any keeper who guessed the right way would have saved it. I would have if I guessed the right way. The second save from Livakovic was impressive, though, diving low to his right and stretching out his arm to block the ball. For Croatia's side of things, their penalties were great. Their first 2 were perfect, only for Livaja to miss, to throw Japan a lifeline, only for Yoshida to have his penalty saved by Livakovic again. Another decent save, but Yoshida will be disappointed in the lack of placement and power. You need at least one of them. A hat-trick of saves for Livakovic, setting the stage for Pasalic to win it for Croatia, and he did so. Asano was the only Japanese player of their 4 kickers to convert a penalty, and so Japan were denied of a place in the quarterfinals once again. They're yet to get there in their history. For Croatia, for me, they looked unconvincing again, but you could argue the same of their 2018 run, I guess, and now they're doing so with added experience, so well done to them. Brazil were taking on South Korea as a 1-0. It wasn't the fastest goal of the tournament, but Vinicius Jr. scored after just a few minutes following a dangerous attack from Brazil's right side. Great work from Rafinha, a great delivery into the box that eluded everyone but Vinicius on the far side of the box. The composure from him to take a touch and then pick out the far corner was lovely. Think of Mbappe and the composure he had for his first goal against Poland yesterday. Similar vibes. Completely different finishes. I didn't even have a chance to finish writing my notes about the first goal when suddenly Richarlison had won a penalty for Brazil right on the edge of the box. A bit unfortunate for the defender, but I think that the referee ultimately got it right. And I forgot to say, Mr. Clubfoot himself, Neymar, was back in the starting 11. It wasn't just a return to the squad, but a return to the starting 11 for Brazil, and he was of course the man to take the penalty for them, perhaps the slowest run-up of all time. He was waiting for the keeper to make a move first, and in the end, he rolled it past him. Japanese players, are you watching? That's how you do it. 2-0 Brazil after 13 minutes of play. However, South Korea did indeed have a milestone shortly after the second goal. As for the first time at this World Cup, Alisson was forced into making a save, a decent one as well, his first save after over 180 minutes of football. It's been a fun ride for him thus far, and a credit to South Korea. Hey man, you gotta take those little victories. Serbia and Switzerland failed to get a shot on target against Alisson. But there would be no mercy in this match, at least especially in that first half, as Richarlison started off the third goal with a little seal dribble, a throwback to the talent that never was named, Kerlon. If you know, you know. At least that's who it reminded me of, but a completely different version, of course. Then 2 quick passes later, and the ball was back at Richarlison's feet with the keeper at his mercy, and he of course scored his 3rd goal of this tournament. No problem there for him. And it was breathless stuff, man. Later, an attack down Brazil's left saw Vinicius again show fantastic composure, but this time not in the finish, but with his pass. He didn't rush it, he didn't try to force it or drive it across goal. He put his head up, saw Paqueta making a late run, chipped it in his path. In turn, Paqueta smashed it past the keeper for 4-0 in the 36th minute at that point. And at this point, we were all thinking the same thing. Is Brazil the best team this tournament, or is the opposition's lack of quality helping them a bit? I think that once again, things aren't black or white. There are shades of gray, and 2 things can be true at once. Yes, Brazil do look like possibly the best team in the tournament alongside France. And yes, South Korea was the weakest team that they had played until that point, and it was being reflected in the scoreline. This was definitely the kind of match where South Koreans were just, praying for it to end, really, with the final scoreline going anywhere from 4-0 in the best case, or a few goals in South Korea's column thrown in there as well. Or there's the potential it could get ugly, like Germany 7, Brazil 1 ugly, But shortly after the halftime break, Heung-min Son did get in behind, but Alisson got enough on the finish for it to go out for a harmless corner rather than concede a goal. The man had faced his first shot on target in this game. Now you want him to concede? Hey, in all seriousness, the 2 saves that Alisson had to make were great saves. That was the duality of this match. Easy for Brazil to score, hard for Korea, given the man in goal. But hey, South Korea had something to celebrate in the end. A free kick into the box, and from the clearance, Seung-ho Paik absolutely smashed the ball on the volley to power it past Alisson. That was another little victory on the day. And they would have been happy to have seen Alisson make way for Weverton in goal, meaning that every single Brazilian had played in this World Cup campaign, everyone in the squad. So it all ended with Brazil getting the 4-1 victory, and they really took their foot off the gas in the second half. I mean, changing your keeper for another keeper when you're winning 4-1, yes, you've relented a lot when you're doing that. And it begs the question, I think, of who can stop this Brazilian side. France is the obvious answer. They're on the other side of the tournament bracket, so they would only meet in the final. Argentina, I mean, they've managed to keep Brazil off of the score sheet the last 3 times they faced each other. Maybe they'll meet in the semifinal. Or will it be Croatia, whom they meet in the quarterfinals next? In this moment, I doubt it, but I'm open to hearing otherwise. All right, guys, that will do it from me here today. As always, I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll also have a watch along for Portugal versus Switzerland. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.